The UK's new Prime Minister, Theresa May, is getting down to her first full day of business, although she wasted no time in getting started on Wednesday. May has announced members of her cabinet. So let's take a look at some of her key appointments. Arguably, the most important task in May's government goes to Mr. David Davis. He's a prominent Eurosceptic who take on the newly made position of Secretary of State for exiting the European Union. Former Foreign Secretary Philip Hammond will replace George Osborne as Chancellor of the Exchequer as the man in charge of the country's finances. He'll have to navigate through a difficult economic period in the wake of the Brexit vote. Brexit campaigner Liam Fox is Britain's new International Trade Secretary. He'll be responsible for negotiating new trade deals with countries worldwide as the UK leaves the European Union. And fellow Brexit campaigner and former Mayor of London, Mr. Boris Johnson, is the newly appointed Foreign Secretary.
I think Theresa made a wonderful speech this afternoon about her ambitions for the country and how she saw the Conservative government taking Britain forward. I completely agree with her sentiments and about opportunity, about giving people better life chances. And clearly now we have a massive opportunity in this country to make a great success of our new relationship with Europe and with the world. And I'm very excited to be asked to play a part in that.
You've got a few people to apologise to, though, haven't you? President Obama, for example.
Well, as I say, the United States of America will be in the front of the queue.
Simon McGregor-Wood is in London and has more on the UK's newest government.
Well, the new Prime Minister, Theresa May, has wasted no time here on Wednesday building her team. That was one of her first tasks. She has in her gift over 24 cabinet posts, and already by Wednesday evening she was filling those top posts, some of the most important roles in this country. And the shock one, I guess, clearly is the appointment of Boris Johnson, perhaps the biggest and most charismatic campaigner for the so-called Brexit. He has been rewarded, if that's the right word, with the post of Foreign Secretary. He will be this country's salesman, effectively, in this very tricky period that lies ahead, trying to convince our friends and allies and enemies, I suppose, of what this country is doing and how it is going to negotiate its new role in the field of foreign affairs, clearly not any longer, or for much longer, as a member of the European Union. It's clear from having a look at the appointments that she's made, about 6 or 7 this evening, there's an even mix between those who campaigned for the Brexit and those who campaigned for this country to remain in the UK. That's an interesting political decision that she's made. Clearly, she is a leader of a very divided party, and I think by having a look at this selection of appointments, it's clear that she's trying to unite the party with those appointments. One last point, David Davis, a man who's been a cabinet minister before, but not for a long time, a campaigner for Brexit, has been brought in for the new ministry, so-called Secretary of State for exiting the EU. He's a sparky character. He speaks his mind. It will be interesting to see how that develops. He is the man tasked with this very complicated job of beginning the negotiations to bring the United Kingdom outside the European Union. It'll be interesting to see how he manages that.